So every year on YouTube when I have a birthday, I always do a birthday special where I reflect on life, talk about my new chapter in life, talk about the previous chapter, what it's like, and just my experiences as a whole. And this year I turned 23 years old, guys, and I got a lot of stuff to say about 23 in this video today, so let's get started. So in terms of the age 23, this is the last year where I can officially call myself in my early 20s, because from like 24 to like 26, you're in like your mid 20s, and then from like 27 to 29, you're in like your late 20s. So I gotta kind of enjoy this moment. This is gonna be the last year of my 20s, and although physically I feel better than I did before because I've been going to the gym and working out my body, I feel stronger, faster, healthier, I don't feel as young as I used to. And obviously I've gotten older, but for those of you who aren't 23 yet, you'll understand this later on down the line. 23 is a very different number because 22 feels like 21 part 2. 21 is like, yeah, awesome, I can now go to clubs and drink legally. And 18 is like, yeah, I'm an adult. And 16 is like, yeah, I can drive now. Like, if you see your life up until this point, like, getting older was cool. It's like, yeah, I'm awesome. It's good to be older. And now it's like, you're 23, alright, who gives a fuck? You could do the same fucking things you could do last year, so you're not really anything cool now. You're just 1 year closer to your doom. That's literally what it feels like. It's like, yeah, alright, 23, good luck, bro, move on with your life. That's kind of what 23 feels like, a pat on the back. Alright, bro, you made it. Keep going. And, you know, it's been really interesting because I've been making YouTube videos for years now. You know, in December, this would be my 6th year making YouTube videos, and I never imagined in my wildest dreams that I would be making videos this long. And honestly, it just really makes me want to thank all of you guys, you know, for all of your birthday wishes, and, you know, for all of you who've supported my channel for so long, because quite honestly, I mean, not everybody does YouTube for 6 years. That's kind of a landmark in your life. And I've been going for 5 years now, and it feels great. I still have a lot of stuff I want to talk about. I still feel like I can improve in areas. I still feel like I can expand. I still feel like I can grow at this. And the funny thing about all this, guys, is that since I mostly talk about Dragon Ball, you know, being 23 and having older Dragon Ball YouTubers around, I feel justified in talking about Dragon Ball, because I've always said this in my brain subconsciously, that guys like Rhymestyle and, you know, Geekdom and Hail Zeon and Jax Blade, all these guys who are older than me, they make me feel cool to talk about Dragon Ball, because if they're older than me and they're talking about this, I can do the same too. You know, and it just always made me feel that way on the inside, because, I mean, some people would say, aren't you getting too old for this? But it's like, no, not really. I mean, people still love this show in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. So why the hell should I stop? You know, and it's just interesting things like that. And to talk more about my life, guys, because I'm just going to tell you guys the honest truth. I'm going to make this as positive as possible, but 2016 was a disastrous year, man. I mean, it was a very disastrous year. It was a lot of unexpected problems being added to my plate. You know, it's like every time I would solve a problem and, you know, save money, or something happens and a person in my life died, or it, you know, just became ill out of nowhere and could no longer, you know, be the same and they required assistance, or, you know, one thing just hits you and, you know, you just lose a major asset and almost die. And it's just like a bunch of shit just happened. And for those of you who know and followed me from 2016, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't want to go into the negative nitty-gritty of what happened last year, but 2016 was a very, 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 very challenging year. And I feel like an adult now. Like, before I felt like I was a kid that was living with mom and dad, but I moved out, you know, kind of did my own thing, had my own business, went through tough times, and I feel like I'm seasoned now. Like, I feel like I know what life is about a lot better than I did before. And although I'm still a younger guy, I still feel like I have room to improve. And this year, 2016, really taught me a lot about life. And if I could go back in time to a couple years and, you know, make different decisions and live my life better, I would. But you can't think like that. You can't think hindsight 2020 and, you know, dwell on the past. You have to just think positive and look forward in the future. And as of right now, in 2017, I really haven't had any major problems that were added to my plate. You know, I mean, the one problem I had was that somebody very dear to me died, and this was an older person. So, I mean, unfortunately, that's the cycle of life. People die in life, and, you know, that's just the way it's supposed to be. And I'm always going to miss them, and it's always going to be sad, you know, in my heart for the rest of my life that that individual passed away. But, you know, other than that natural cycle, there really isn't any new problems that life has thrown me. And I don't expect to, you know, be given life in a very easy fashion. You know, I understand that life is always going to throw you curveballs, and you always have to be tough, you have to be disciplined, you have to be focused to, you know, see those curveballs coming and know how to hit them. And you gotta know, you gotta be prepared for these things. And a lot of things happen to you that are very unexpected. And that was the thing about me that I can say from 2016. Like, I felt like that was the first year in my life where I felt that unexpected shit can just come into your life that you have no fucking clue was gonna be there, and those events completely change the way you live for the rest of your life, or at least for the next few years. And you just have to be prepared for that, because usually the problems that, you know, I created for myself in the past, they were gradual problems. They were things that I was, you know, lacking or not doing very well, and then the problem just added together over time, and then it became a problem in the future. But last year, it was like, nah, nigga, just BAM! Just like, here's a problem that you just gotta figure out how to deal with. And it made me older, and it made me appreciate life a lot more. And it also made me appreciate the fact that although I went through stuff, there are other people out there in life who are going through 10, 20, 40, 50 times what I went through, and who are still happy, living their lives. You know, they're enjoying themselves, they always look positive, and they're always trying to fix the future. And that makes me admire people like that. You know, the people who are positive and always try to think positive. Don't dwell on the people who are gonna hate you. And the fact of the matter is, as a YouTuber, you're gonna get a lot of hate. You know, unfortunately, I can't say I get the most hate out of the Dragon Ball YouTubers. You know, if you guys are well aware of who the Dragon Ball YouTubers are, there's certain Dragon Ball YouTubers that get way more hate than I do. And if they're watching this video, they know exactly who they are. And then there's some Dragon Ball YouTubers that everybody loves, and that's fine. But the fact of the matter is, you gotta be tough. Because no matter what profession you have in life, no matter what you go through, all the ups and the downs, you're always gonna be yourself. And you have to figure out ways to get further in life. And to add some more quick things that I wanted to add to this 2017 birthday special video, I guess the one thing I could say about myself that's interesting is my appearance right now represents my lifestyle. I am focused on, you know, expanding YouTube, expanding my businesses, you know, getting closer to finishing my degree, which was kind of put on a halt for a while due to, you know, the events of 2016. I'm trying to, and the weird thing is my appearance right now is very shaggy. Like, I have like a kind of a shaggy beard. I have an afro that's growing out, and I feel like that kind of represents me. It represents like I'm an older guy now. I'm just kind of just living life. I don't give a fuck what other people have to say. Like, they say, oh, get your ass a haircut, bro. It's like, no, I like the way I look. I kind of like this natural look I have right now. You know, and some people might say something about it, but it's like, no, get a haircut for what? I spent all day inside making YouTube videos and talking about anime and video games. Why the hell do I need to get a haircut? I don't got no boss at some station that says, you need to be here at 8 in the morning. Fuck that. It made me realize that I am more aware of who I am in life, and that's what 2016 did for me. By moving out of my parents' house, I became self-aware of who I was, because before I lived my parents' life. I did what they wanted me to do. I did what friends and peers wanted me to do. I was living for other people. But in 2017, I'm living for Quinn, man. I'm living for Qua, man. I'm living for you guys. I'm living for other people instead of making other people live me. And that is my story of my 2017 birthday, guys. I hope you guys got a little bit of, bit more of an insight into my life. I really enjoy doing these birthday specials, as this is a new year for me to reflect, and I did this completely natural, unscripted, uncensored, and I hope you guys share what you think in the comment section below, because in these videos I always respond to comments. I love seeing what you guys like to say in these very, interpersonal videos, because I want to know about your life and some challenges that you may have gone through, or things that you've learned as you've gotten older or younger. And if you're older than me, give a young 23-year-old guy some advice about what he could do. And if you're younger and you have any questions, or if you have advice for yourself that you want to give me, let me know in the comment section below. So with everything else said, please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. And remember, as I always say, to have a great day, guys. And guys, it's not cool to get older anymore.